5 harsh truths my cannabis addiction taught me. So today I'm here to share with you how I was able to get out of this cannabis addiction. And these are the lessons I learned from this experience. It was worth it. It was actually worth it. I also believe, as I also know that, the addiction was also part of the journey. It was a very important part of my journey. And I actually feel no guilt about it. You understand? And now I look at the past and I'm really grateful for the experience. It has taught me a lot of things. So these are 5 harsh truths that I learned after quitting, before quitting and after quitting. So stay tuned, keep watching, stay blessed. So I acknowledge that some people actually see cannabis usage as harmless. I acknowledge that. And I've seen people that have been using cannabis for years. An example is a very, very notable, or should I use the word notable? A very popular pop singer in America. He has been smoking for 35 years. He has been smoking cannabis for over 35 years. And it looks good. I'm not against you using it. You can, for some people it's a escape mechanism, and for some people it helps them to do whatever thing they want to do in life, you understand. But I'm sharing how it became a problem for me at some point in my life and how I got out of it. For some people it's a cage, you understand, that's the truth. So if you know that this is a cage and you want to get out of this, I want you to listen to this. Now, one of the first things I realized was, number one, my cannabis addiction taught me how to feel. My cannabis addiction taught me how to feel. So this is how let me just share a short story of how I got into it in the first place. There was a time in my life I got so busy with life. I was so busy. I became so stressed. This was around 2018. And it got to a point where I knew deep inside I was dying within, because I was busy with my life. I was just doing things. I was so extra busy, and I knew that if I continue like this, I'm just something bad was going to happen. I didn't know what it is, but I was feeling this thing within, but I could not really understand what was going on until I discovered cannabis. And as a church boy, if you say that kind of thing, then of course you can't talk to a pastor about this kind of thing. It will not make sense, you understand. And I decided I was going to use it, so I did my research. Of course, I'm a chemist too. I studied chemistry, so I understand the chemical components in this substance. But I knew quite alright that it was going to get me addicted, but I didn't give a damn, because I knew that this substance was going to increase my confidence. It was going to help me deal with my emotions. That was the illusion I bought into, And I took the step. I had a friend that I knew was a smoker. So we went to buy it, and, to cut the long story short, the first drug I had, that was in 2019. Now, this was what I felt. I realized that I didn't know how it meant to feel. I didn't know what it meant to feel. So I started feeling some movement in my body within me. That was the first time I didn't understand what that means. It was later, after doing a lot of research, what's this thing going on in my body? Anytime I smoke this thing, that's the first time I smoked it. I was just feeling this movement from the back of my spine to my genitals, my pelvic area, to my stomach. When it gets to my heart, then it becomes so painful. Like, I feel that pain from my heart, and this thing moves again to my throat, to my forehead, and to the center of my head, and back again. But anytime it gets to my heart, I feel this excruciating pain. I didn't know what it meant. So, of course, goes down again and up and down. So that experience led me into how to actually feel. So I after some few years doing a lot of research, started doing meditation, and I realized that, okay, this was what it meant. Thanks to someone like Deepak Chopra, Dr. Joe Dispenza, I started studying their materials, started doing some research about neuroscience, that, okay, so what's actually going on in the brain. So it opened me up to really, really understanding myself. So I started doing those meditations by Joe Dispenza. Thanks to a friend that gave me some of their materials, and I started doing those energy center meditation. So I learned that what happened in my body was that energy was stuck in my system. That was what I learned from that experience. I said, okay. I started realizing that there's something called the chakras, the energy centers. Some people don't like the word chakra because it sounds too demonic. So you can say chakras or energy center. Okay, did I say it? It's actually energy centers, you understand? So all those 7 primary energy centers, that was what actually happened. That cannabis experience opened me up to the fact that energies were blocked. These energy centers were blocked, were clogged. Energies were clogged. So there was no flow. So cannabis will actually help me to understand that there should be a flow. So that was it. It taught me how to feel. When I made the decision that I'm going to stop because the addiction was getting out of hand. It was getting out of hand. So I decided that, okay, I'll continue doing this meditation practice, which I recommend. If you want to learn how to do this meditation, you can DM me. I can teach you how to do it. You understand? Just DM me and we can go on from there. If you really, really want to learn how to do this meditation, there are meditations that you can do that can help you open up your chakras, that can help you open up those energy centers and, detect areas in your body that is stuck. And another thing you also need to understand is that there's something called the feelings body. There's something called the emotional body. The physical body is the one we can see right now, but underneath the physical body, there is the emotional body. And that emotional body is where many of us have been missing it. There's no flow because of stress. Like I said earlier, I was stressed. I was too busy with my life. So I didn't know that, especially my heart region, my heart center was blocked, you understand? So that was what happened. That was what I learned. The second thing I learned in my journey of addiction, cannabis addiction, was something called emotional stunting. It actually means taking the edge off. It actually means that, we have this tendency to want to avoid our emotional stress. There's a lot of stress that has been generated over the years. We've gone through a lot of issues in the past hurts, regret, pain, heartbreak, and all those kind of things. So after some time, those emotional stress will come up, because they've been repressed. Imagine as a child, you've been told not to do the things you really want to do. You've been beaten, you've been abused. So after some time, all those emotional stress will come up, because as a child, you don't really know how to process these feelings. You understand? So that is where midlife crisis will come into play. You understand? So the truth was that I was using the cannabis to avoid or to deny that emotional stress or that emotional pain, So that is one of the reasons why people get into addiction, just to distract themselves. So that was what happened to me. I was trying to distract myself, and I didn't take time to deal with that stress, So I was now using the chemical buffer. Of course, using whatever means, For some people, it could be video games. For some people, it could be smoking. For some people, it could be alcohol. For some people, it could be food. For some people, it could be getting busy. Some people just like to work. It's not really about the work, but it's actually about avoiding to deal with that emotional stress within you, So that's why I always recommend meditation. Meditation is a tool that you can use to do this, you understand? So it's a gradual process, and it was not a one-day thing. I still do it till today, you understand? So another thing I learned was that I thought that I cannot be, funny, or I cannot be creative, or I cannot be relaxed without using cannabis. Recently, I was still dealing with a friend, he's also trying to get out of this addiction too. I remember back then we used to smoke together, and we were talking about this issue, and he said, "Dayo, the truth is, yes, for a while he stopped, but he had to get back to it because he said he found it so hard to sleep in the night, so he still had to smoke to sleep." And I told him, I said, I understand the feeling, I understand, and I'm not trying to tell you to stop like that, but the goal is actually to stop, and I understand that because there's a mindset that you have created over the years that if I don't smoke or if I don't use this cannabis, then I will not be creative, I will not be performative, I can't perform well. And that was what happened to me at some point in my life, that I could not perform without using it. Even if I did not smoke it, then I'll put it inside tea, I'll put it in food and use it so that I can use it to perform, to play guitar or play music or express myself, or because I saw it as a source of my confidence. But I'm here to tell you that the confidence that you need is actually within you. Is within you actually. So that's why I keep talking about this, that the joy that you need to achieve anything in life is within you already. But you have been sold that illusion. You've been thinking too much about the fact that you need something to get you there, and that's why we have a lot of creative people, a lot of musicians and performers right now that they can't do without using substance before they perform. There are a lot of creative people that I know that they can't perform, or they can't draw, or they can't do the artistry without using chemicals. It's a combination of thoughts over the years that you've deceived yourself. You've created that illusion of it. It's actually a lie. But one thing I've learned after the addiction journey is I actually had to learn how to do this without using anything. It was not easy. In fact, at some point, I had to stop everything I was doing. I had to stop performing. I had to stop gigs. I had to stop a lot of things to really, really sit down and understand myself. It took me a while. I did a lot of studies and research to get to that point. Now I can do that. This is almost 4 years now that I used cannabis last. You understand? And it's been a journey of how to deal. It's a journey of dealing with my lows, my emotional lows. I'm not always happy. That's the truth. I'm not always joyful. But those times when I'm not joyful, I know how to like I use the word alchemize the feeling, how to turn that feeling into joy. It takes practice, it takes an exercise, and that's why I keep recommending meditation. Meditation exercise is good. It's actually a tool that you can use to achieve this, but it's not going to be a one-day thing. It can take you sometimes a year or 2 or 3, 4, 5 years to get to that point where you are no more dependent on it. You understand? So this is one of the lessons I learned. So the fourth thing I learned during this addiction journey was connection and isolation. Now, I actually had to learn. Of course, this was after the addiction period. I actually learned how to be present. For every addicted person, being present is a challenge. So there's this illusion that you have that I have to use substance so that I can be present. So I know people that they can't even, converse. They can't even make a conversation until they've used a chemical, or they must have smoked something, or you understand, before they connect, before they converse or make a conversation. But it's actually a lie. Now, for every addicted person, the solution to addiction is actually connection. And when you think for an addicted person, right, you think that when you use it, then you become more connected. You become more social. That's why they use the word social drug. They say a cannabis is a social drug. So when you smoke, then it makes you feel like you are social. You feel more confident to relate with people. But even if you do that, it's actually short-lived, because when you get into that high, it will be short-lived. After some time, it will, by the time the emotional low comes into you, you would be isolated, because you would rather just sit somewhere and just smoke and get high, and you just want to be by yourself. And but the truth of the matter is, the cure to this addiction is actually connection. And if you've been checking my videos, my past videos, I've been talking so much about connection. And when we talk about connection there is connection to your real self, connection to your higher self. And this is what makes you present. The more connected you are to your higher self, which is your internal self. I've been talking a lot about pay attention to your internal environment. The more attention you pay, or the more attention you give to your internal environment, the more present you become. But using cannabis, using drug, using any form of addictive substance actually disconnects you. That's the truth. It actually disconnects you, but it sells you the illusion of being social. But at the end of the day, you will actually find yourself isolating yourself, and isolation cannot help you. That's the truth. So that's one thing I learned. I was getting isolated because of the guilt and the shame. You understand? So I actually now had to learn to relate with people. After the addiction issue, I learned to relate with people. I actually started going back to church. I was not going to church for some years, for like 3-4 years. But I decided that, you know what, where's the best place to connect with people? Church. And thank God I'm a musician, so that gives me an edge. So I decided to start going to church and relate with people, so connection is. But before I started doing the church thing, I had to work on myself first. I had to do all the meditation and learn how to connect with that internal environment first. And that gave me the strength to relate with people. You understand? And this is one of the things that is actually breaking many marriages today, because both parties have not learned to actually connect. And you cannot connect with another person without first connecting with yourself first. You understand? So the fifth thing I learned is that boredom is a signal, not a problem. Now, the issue about boredom is that many people, we don't really like being bored. I said that in the previously. We don't like being bored, and the way we relate with boredom, it matters. You understand? And there's something I learned from one therapist like that, and he told me, of course, I did my research and I saw this, that in the brain, what happens is that when you use cannabis a lot, the cannabis or the cannabinoid chemical, or the hormone, or whatever you want to call it, actually replaces the dopamine. So yes, when you use the cannabis, it actually rushes, of course, ignites or triggers the dopamine. So there will be a rush of dopamine and all those feel-good chemicals in your brain. You understand? But in time, the cannabis would replace those hormones in your brain. And at some point you start, getting okay with being bored. Because the only thing you can do right now is just to smoke and just be high, or whatever the addiction might be. You understand? For some people, it might just be playing video games. I saw a video by a psychiatrist recently, and was sharing how that when he was younger, he would play video games for hours, for like 16 hours at a stretch. That's a serious addiction there. So addiction could be different for different people, you understand? But the most important thing is knowing how your body, understanding your body is very crucial. The Bible also talks about the fact that your body is a temple of God. You need to actually research and study how your body works. So you understand? And this will give you an insight into how to manage yourself, and of course, in turn, get out of the addiction. And this video is not to actually judge you or try to tell you that this is bad or this is wrong. But if you know that you are caged by your addiction, you understand, I would really recommend that you need to really do something. And that which I did, I embraced the art of meditation. Meditation is very powerful. Meditation can help you to observe. I like quoting that scripture in the Bible, Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. It says that thou shalt meditate therein day and night, so that you can observe. So the more you observe what is going on within you, the more you are able to feel. Like I said earlier, the more you become more confident, the more you believe in yourself, the more you know how your body functions, you know how your brain functions. I personally, I started checking out personal development videos and podcasts on YouTube, and I started understanding why when I feel bored, okay, why am I feeling bored right now? What can I do? And I realized that boredom is actually a signal. It's not a problem. So, but the problem is actually getting, being comfortable with being bored. That's actually a problem. But when you are feeling bored, it means that, like I said in my past videos, pay attention internally now. Pay attention to what you're feeling and alchemize it. Don't deny the feeling, and at the same time, don't be carried away by the feeling. Don't be enveloped by that feeling. You understand? Don't let that feeling take you over. You understand? Let it come and let it go. So if you have any suggestions, if you have any opinion, or you can just comment, share your experience. If you have any experience, if you have gone through addiction in your life and you want to share, please share it with us on the comment section, and we can take it up from there. Thank you so much. I love you. Stay